Welcome to the Love Story Behind, the show about transforming your heartbreak into creative expression, one artist-inspired journal entry at a time. I'm your host, Minji Zai, founding producer of thelovestory.org, a nonprofit journaling portal for you to transform your life tragedy into a love story. On today's episode, Moby, the love story behind music therapy, we will be interviewing Moby about the coping tools of grief when dealing with personal loss. Moby is an American DJ, singer, songwriter, musician, photographer, animal rights activist, author, and music therapy advocate. Our interview took place backstage at Shambhala Music Festival just hours before his performance. In the second part of this podcast episode, we will be reading excerpts of journal entries written by our very own journal artists, inspired by the very interview you are about to listen to. Your role as a journal artist is to listen for the similarities. If anything resonates with you throughout the interview, your task is to pause this podcast, pull the quote Moby said directly into your diary, and begin journaling uninterrupted for 15 to 60 minutes from that space. Are you ready to listen, reflect, and write your heart open? My kindred journal artists. Let's begin.
There's 7 billion people on the planet, and I think you would be hard-pressed to find anyone who hasn't experienced some sort of loss. There's romantic loss, there's trans-species loss,
right?
The loss of a beloved pet, there's parental loss, there's family loss, there's so many different types of loss, and my father died when I was 2, and family members and friends have died regularly throughout most of my life.
Right.
But it's interesting, and maybe this isn't relevant to what you're talking about, but the thing that has surprised me most as time has passed is that we're surprised that people die, or we're surprised that things end, because everything ends. Right. There's not a single thing that you can think or experience or have or whatever that doesn't end. You break your ankle, you can't instantly make it better.
Yeah.
You have to take, no pun intended, certain steps that will help it to heal.
Yeah.
And it's that way with emotional healing as well. Like when there's trauma, all you can do is gently try and facilitate healing.
Okay.
And with emotional healing, that involves so many different things. It can involve community, it can involve prayer, it can involve rest and self-care, it can involve eating well, it can involve art and music. There are all sorts of things that do definitely facilitate healing. The other thing is loss. And if we consider loss as a form of injury,
right,
by maintaining a healthy organism,
right,
you make yourself less susceptible to injury, and you recover from it faster.
Okay.
So if you're in a physically and emotionally good place, and you experience loss, the loss won't be as traumatic, and you'll get over it faster.
That's great.
And so it's not just responding to the loss when it happens, or responding to injury when it happens, but maintaining your health beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time and persistence. When things are dark and when the darkness seems sort of unrelenting, just remembering that things change. And also trying, and this is really hard to do, but understanding that like even within darkness, there's so much choice. You know, like I can, like in Buddhism, they talk about the multiple darts.
Yes.
You know, like there's the first dart, which is the initial injury, and then there's the second and third darts, which is self-administered.
Right.
You know, an example would be like, suppose I'm in love with someone and they break up with me.
Yeah.
That's the first dart, and that's sad. The second dart is then me saying, oh, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Or, oh, they should, like, creating more pain and suffering around it, rather than just simply observing the initial pain and suffering and accepting it for what it is.
What is your ultimate definition of the love story?
Of the love story?
Yeah.
The pursuit of God. You know, that's the ultimate, you know, that's, but it's kind of like the poet, I think it was a Sufi poet, Kabir, you know, writing about joyful longing, you know, the sadness and the joy of longing, and the paradoxical longing where we long for what we already have, but which is also separate from us.
Did you find a special resonance, something that directly speaks to you, something you have personally experienced, a kindred truth? We'll be playing Moby's song, Homeward Angel, off of his album Hotel, released in 2005. During this time, reflect and meditate on the quote you have pulled. Without further ado, here's Homeward Angel by Moby. Our first Moby-inspired journal entry is journaled by Amy Bauer, teacher, writer, and traveler.
Inspired by the words of Moby, understanding that even in darkness there is so much choice. Forever and ever, fiction based on a true self-love. I am lost in love, spinning out of control. I am locked in this dark room. I know where the exit is, but I choose to stumble blindly forward, getting deeper and deeper into the darkness, becoming broken and bruised by these random obstacles, only to be hurt and lost forever in the end. When the thought of you on top of someone else, them in your arms, your lips on theirs, comes into my brain, I do not have the urge to cry. My heart beats faster, my chest burns, and I stop breathing until the gasping for air knocks me back to reality. That must be my heart exploding. I stare down at my body, looking for blood. I see nothing, but I am hurt. What is this pain? I miss the days when the only time you hurt is when you scraped your knee, the blood proof that you were physically hurt. Otherwise, you did not know pain. That seems so long ago. I can barely see the memory through the clouds I have grown way above. I was living comfortably in those complacent clouds. Now I am crashing. Mayday, mayday, my heart is broken, my wings are gone. I reach for a parachute, but pull out a mirror. I heard San Francisco calling me, so I followed the sweet sound of her voice, salvation. Breathe in the life of the city, let it consume me, change me. Close my eyes, just listen to her scream to me. Feel her sounds pulsate through my body, pounding heart talking back in Morse code, I am home. Breathe out the despairs of the past that hold me back. Watch them dissipate into the skies, burning stars into the darkness, shedding light on this path I will follow. Follow the path away from you. Because you cannot make someone love you no matter how hard you try or want it. It's something you feel or you don't feel. It's like wanting blonde hair when you have brown. You can fake it, but it will never stay and it won't look natural. So my feelings for you replaced by my dreams. I'll see you around, not as much as I'd like, but I'll take my chances on a safer bet, a love that loves back. But you'll always be my best and worst friend.
This next Moby-inspired journal entry is by Ruby.
The thing that has surprised me most, at times, is that we're surprised that people die, or we're surprised that things end, because everything ends. Moby. Journal entry, window pane. Shuffling from one perch to the next, I sip tea out of my favorite mug. Not the one you bought, the one I found for you. The day I bought it for you, you sort of smiled, sort of laughed at me, never said thank you. My tea's gone cold, but I still drink it, watching the door, then the window. Each shadow that passes through the window pane, I hope it's you, but I know better. It's well past 3 a.m. You never come home later than 1 a.m. If you're still out, you stay out. Crossing the 5 feet of unclaimed space between kitchen and living room, I sense resentment burrow within me. This apartment, I've done everything I can to make it a home, all 300 square feet of it. The mug is empty. The cats are restless. Black Cat doesn't like my pacing. She and I go way back. She's watched me grow up. I give it in to her and slump into the love seat. I remember when I first moved out with Black Cat. I was 18. She was going on 5 years already. I spent countless nights curled around that tiny black body. In the dark place where my heart lives, I survived for that cat, lived for no other reason than to feed her. Back again, Black Cat sprawls across my chest while your cat glowers over me atop the back of the couch. If she weren't so skittish, I'd say your cat was oppressive, watching me from afar, keeping track of me to make sure I stay good while you go out. I log onto social media. It displays new photos of you with your friends. Your arms are wrapped around one of your friends' waist. Your cheeks are red with embarrassment and alcohol. Both of you have full glasses in hands. More than likely, you are passed out on her floor. across this forsaken city. Regardless, I stay awake, waiting for the latch on our front door to release. Black Cat wakes me now with the sound of her yowling. As she's aged, she's grown less patient. Your cat remains silent, hiding now under the table. My phone says it's 7 a.m. You're still out. I make coffee, feed the cats, wait. When you finally come back, the pot of coffee is empty and cold. You open the door, looking down with a smile on your face. It's the kind of smile that is remembering where you came from. It's a smile taken from another place and dropped off here. You set your keys down in the little porcelain dish I found. Slip your shoes off and place them next to mine. That's when you look up and see me. Smile fading fast and your eyes growing large with shock. A nervous laugh fills the apartment. It's so loud I stand up and I open the kitchen window. Your shame pushes air out of my lungs. Suddenly, you're right next to me, apologizing a lot. I'm sorry, bumbles out of your mouth and shatters on the window pane. For a long time, my brain forgets how to tell my mouth words for speaking. All my brain can do is scream words for thinking. Your mouth trembles with the excuses, but all I hear is Black Cat. She purrs and wraps her body around my legs. I pull away from the window pane and finally walk to the bedroom. For the first time since I've been home this weekend, I lay in bed. I close my eyes and fall asleep to your lulling lies. We went on that way for 7 more months.
Thank you for listening to the love story behind. We hope you journal your heart open. I'm your host, Minji Zai. For more intimate artist-inspired interviews and journal entries to journal from, please go to thelovestory.org. Keep calm and journal on.